guys, welcome to another episode of Midnight Chapters. So today I found another novel I like. I found it on webfic, and yes, you'd have to pay to read it, but I can assure you it's interesting. It's called Never Again. So let's read. Gabby, as long as you stay, I'll give you $1 billion. No, make that 2 billion. At Palmer's Manor, Theodora Palmer pleaded with the young woman before him. However, Gabriella Robinson simply shook her head and pushed the check back across the table. She replied, Grandpa, I'm sorry. We agreed on 6 years, and now that time is up. My debt is repaid. It's time for me to go. Her voice was soft yet unwavering. Seeing that Gabriella had made up her mind, Theodora sighed heavily and said, You've had a hard time this past 6 years. Before you leave, just say the word. If there's anything you want. Gabriella fell silent for a long moment. I want your blessing for Alex and Melody to be together. You asked me to get close to Alex so he'll move on from her. But 6 years have passed, you've seen it yourself. Maybe love just can't be broken. Theodore signed again, the exhaustion and helplessness in his eyes deepening. Fine, I'm too old for this. I shall let the younger generation do as they please. As for the divorce, you have to talk to Alex yourself. Gabriella nodded, curtsied respectfully, and then turned and left. Once inside the car, she cast one last glance at Palmer's Manor. The first time she had come to this estate had been to repay a debt of gratitude. Gabriella had grown up in an orphanage like most other kids. She should have dropped out of school early, but luck had been on her side. Theodora had chosen to sponsor her education, giving her opportunities she never would have had otherwise. She had the talent and the drive, which led her to skip grades until, at just 22 years old, she earned a doctorate from Cambridge College. The year Gabriella graduated, she'd made a special trip to Palmer's Manor to thank Theodora in person. Unexpectedly, the very old man had made his request. Gabby, my family doesn't need money. If you truly want to repay me, do me a favor. Starting today for the next 6 years, I want you to get close to my grandson. Marry him, have his child, make him forget his sister. It was only then that Gabriella learned that Alex Palmer, the heir to Palmer Group, had fallen in love with his adoptive sister, Melody Palmer. He was willing to give up everything, even his inheritance, to be with her. The Palmer family had been in chaos because of that. Alex had been the perfect successor, brilliant, disciplined, and groomed for leadership since birth. Yet, for the sake of a woman, he had defied them all. Desperate to put an end to it, his family had sent Melody overseas, but that only caused Alex to spiral. He drowned himself in alcohol, wasting away. So out of gratitude towards Theodora, Gabriella had agreed to his request. She'd spent years chasing Alex, playing the role of an infatuated woman, hopelessly in love. Eventually, she'd succeeded in getting him to marry her. She'd even had his child. For 6 long years, she had done everything she was supposed to. However, the moment Melody returned, all those feelings Alex had buried came rushing back. Even their son, whom she had carried and raised, had started to distance himself from her. Alex took him to see Melody so often that the boy had grown attached to her instead, and he'd begun showing open resentment towards his own mother. It turned out that although he'd never mentioned his true love, he'd never forgotten her. Well, none of that mattered to Gabriella anymore. Her contract with the Palmers was over, and she had bettered Alex's child as promised. Now she was finally free to leave. Gabriella pulled herself out of her thoughts and withdrew her gaze from the manor. The very next second, a truck that had lost control came hurtling towards her car. A deafening crash rang out, and the world launched. Gabriella's forehead slammed into the seat in front of her. The pain caused her vision to blur, and everything went blank. When Gabriella regained consciousness, the stark white ceiling and the sharp scent of disinfectant immediately told her where she was. A nurse making her rounds noticed she was awake and asked for a routine question Asked a few written questions before signing in relief. You are incredibly lucky, you know. You only have a mild concussion out of the dozen patients brought in from that multi-car pileup. You are the only survivor. After checking her condition once more, the nurse relaxed and added, "You are fine to leave once a family member signs the discharge paper." Gabriella struggled to sit up, still shaken by the realization of how close she had come to death. It took her a moment to gather herself before she reached for her phone and dialed Alex's number. The dial tone rang endlessly as no one answered. Eventually, he outright declined the call as if annoyed. Gabriella called over a dozen times, but each attempt was met with silence. Lowering her gaze, she tapped on her son Lucas Palmer's contact number. A few minutes passed, all of her calls were ignored. At last, a text popped up on her screen. "Can you stop bothering me? I'm busy right now. Also, make some chicken soup for me." Judging by the impatience and condescending tone, no one would believe that the person behind this message was her child whom she had carried for 10 months. So guys, this is where I'll be stopping tonight. It's quite long. I've gone 6 minutes, and so if you'd like to read the novel, do head over to webfic, type in the name and you'll find it there. Have a good night, guys.